Good morning. It is Tuesday, February the 25th, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host and the only true conservative in the United States today. I created this podcast to answer the question asked most by conservatives, namely, what can I do? My podcast is short, approximately 5 to 10 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to, and shorter podcasts force me to get to the point. I've been listening to Rush Limbaugh since '89. I've been listening to Sean Hannity since he became syndicated. I've been listening to Hugh Hewitt, Glenn Beck, and Joe Pags for about 5 years. Unlike those who pretend to know socialism, I actually do know socialism because I grew up in a socialist household. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Today, what should you do? Tweet of the day, Commie Mommy, a communist beats a 15-year-old, and Mayor Pete versus Rush Limbaugh. All that when I come back. Thank you. This is the list that I have so far, and it will be expanded as I go along, that tells true conservatives what they can do to fight socialism. Number one, don't spread the disease. Just because the socialists do something, say something, act in a particular way, dress in a particular way, doesn't mean that conservatives have to follow suit. We don't have to prove how cool we are. Number two, never attempt to prove a negative. So the number one trick that the socialists play on conservatives is baiting them into trying to prove a negative. Proving a negative is impossible. If you try to do it, you will lose. Don't allow yourself to be baited. When I come back, the tweet of the day. Thank you. Tweet of the day from President Trump. Quote, crying Chuck Schumer is complaining, for publicity purposes only, that I should be asking for more money than $2.5 billion to prepare for coronavirus. If I had asked for more, he would say it is too much. He didn't like my early travel closings. I was right. He is incompetent, unquote. I would add that, quote, crying Chuck, unquote, is not only incompetent, but powerless as well. The president is free to ask for any amount of money he wants, and communist Chuck has no power to stop him. Next up, Commie Mommy. Thank you very much. I met my foster mother's Commie Mommy's parents on several occasions when they came to visit from Holland. My foster mother became a Commie Mommy because of the influence of her mother. Her father, however, was completely opposite. He was jovial and happy, not a trace of anything communistic about him. Commie Grandmommy was rather severe. And Commie Mommy hated me, and so did Commie Grandmommy, because I, more than any of the other children, represented or reminded them of the United States of America, which she hated. When I come back, typically cowardly communist. Thank you very much. A communist went to a Trump rally, intent on kicking some conservative ass. This so-called man beat a 15-year-old and then fought people who tried to intervene. This commie is hurting the cause because the idea of post-Marxism is to get into people's psyche, to operate indirectly in order to get people to want socialism. So this man's violence is counterproductive. No one will want to get anywhere near him, much less listen to what he has to say. And true conservatives should refuse to put up with left-wing violent behavior. The true conservative defends himself and refuses to be intimidated. So far, Trump supporters have proven themselves to be true conservatives. Next up, Mayor Pete takes on Rush Limbaugh. Thank you very much. Heard on the radio, Rush Limbaugh made a comment on his show to the effect that the country isn't ready to see a man kiss his husband on stage. Mr. Limbaugh missed the mark. Mayor Pete was baiting conservatives with his public displays of affection, flaunting his homosexuality and using it as a weapon, and Mr. Limbaugh took the bait. Mr. Limbaugh helped Mayor Pete make this a gay versus straight issue when in reality it is a promiscuity issue. If Mr. Limbaugh would have said that, quote, America isn't ready for public displays of affection, unquote, he would have been correct and would have succeeded in putting Mayor Pete on the spot without incurring socialist backlash and putting his listeners on the spot. Back in a minute. Thank you. Who is the true conservative? He's the person that understands that conservatism is not just about politics, but culture as well. He's not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He is patriotic and uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He's open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential, not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He is a normal American, and he is better than the socialist. He is a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that. If you don't know with every fiber of your being that being a true conservative is best, then you're wasting your time. That brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. Remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. Think about it.